Hello and welcome to this video series about Excel. In this series we're going to learn from the beginning all the way to advanced subjects of what you can do with Excel. But first of all, what is Excel? Excel is a spreadsheet that allows you to automate calculations and also present data in a tabular way and also using graphs. Although there are many softwares or many spreadsheet softwares on the market, and many of them are free, Microsoft Office Excel is really the standard and that is present in most businesses and schools around the world. So if you have to learn any spreadsheet software, I would say learn first Excel, and all the others really replicate the functions of Microsoft Excel. So the first thing we need to know is some basic terminology. First of all, when you open Excel, you're presented with this, and it's called a workbook, which is literally analog to those paper-based books that we used to have back in the day when we did calculations by hand on paper. So each of these sheets that you see here on the bottom are called worksheets, and they are individually spreadsheets that are part of your workbook. So it will be like pages in a book, or you can also call them chapters in your book. Their purpose is to simply organize your workbook in different sections if you need to do so. There is another important concept, and that's the concept of a cell. A cell is any of these rectangles here, white rectangles that you see, and it's an intersection between a row and a column. Now you see that Excel, once I click on one of these cells, if you read this in a book, it will call it an active cell. So you see a concept called active cell. It means that you just clicked and activated this cell, a specific cell. Right now I'm standing on cell G6, and that is its name. And you will see that not only because it's yellow here on the column and row indicators, but also in the name box right here you will see the name of the active cell, which is G6. Now if you move around, you see that this name will change in the name box, and of course it will be highlighted in yellow also in the rows and column indicator. So it's very similar to a game Battleship, where you have the different rows, columns, and they are categorized by letters and numbers. Another important part of Excel, or the Excel terminology, is the formula bar. The formula bar is located right here, and here's where we are going to type formulas and also text. So there is two things that you can type in a cell. You can type a constant value, which is simply text or a number, or you can type a formula that will calculate something based on numbers and the content of cells. Another part that you need to know is the status bar that is located here right on the bottom, and you may have some messages appearing there. Also, if you want to zoom in and out, you can do so on the right side of the screen here. You have a zoom in and out. Now it's 100%, but you want to make it bigger, you can just zoom and you'll see that the cells become bigger, and also its content it will be easier to see. These are the basic sections of the Excel workbook. Of course, the grid here is called the worksheet grid area. It's all this. I'm gonna just highlight it just in case you read it in a book, and this is your main working area. That of course it will be different depending on which worksheet you are located in. Right now I'm in worksheet 1, and by the way, by default you have 3 worksheets. You can create as many as you want by just clicking here or pressing Shift F11, and these names are just the default names. If you simply click it, right click it and click on rename, you can change it to a more significant name. So just by knowing this, you can start using Excel. So let's say I want to I'm just doing let's say I have a group of items, so I'm just going to type items, and let's say I have 50 of these items, and then as you can see I'm clicking on a cell and I'm typing. While I'm typing price, I'm creating constants, and you see here that in the formula bar is replicated when I write in the cell. And if I want to change it, I just click on the cell, make it active of course. I can double click on it and change it, or I can change its content from the status bar by clicking on the status bar and type whatever I want. Now let's say let's say each item costs $150. After I do that, so far I just added constants. But if I want to add a calculation, let's say here total, and on the bottom I'm gonna write a formula. So what I want to do is multiply 50 multiply 1.5. So I start a formula. First I start on the cell that I want this result to show. In this case I want it to show in G7. Then I type equal, the equal sign. When I type the equal sign, Excel knows I'm going to type a formula, something that is going to make a calculation. So here I can tell now Excel which cells I want to multiply. So by just clicking on the cells I want, Excel will highlight it and include it in the formula bar and in the active cell. So I'm clicking on G5, and then I want to multiply that, so I'm going to type the multiplication symbol on the keyboard, and then I'm going to click on the next cell that I want to multiply, which is G6, and it will be equal G5 multiply G6. I press enter to complete entering the formula, and that is 75. If I click on the cell, I see it here. And by the way, you can add things here. Let's say you want to add multiply 0.07 to this formula, and now you will see that is G5 multiply the content, of course the content of G5 multiply the content of G6 multiply 0.07. Now the cool thing is that if I change any of the contents of this cell, right, if instead of 50 items, or let's say I have 60, and I change it, you see that the total is automatically recalculated. This is one of the powers of Excel, and this is why it's so cool to use it. Instead of, if you are doing this in a piece of paper, you will have to erase the old calculation and recalculate it using a calculator and type it again. Here, those things has been completely automated by Excel, and you can just set and forget.